Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Live from the Tower, your weekly Destiny show. And this week is a fantastic week. So, if you haven't seen anything on the internet about the final shape or what Bungie has announced this week and you're trying to remain spoiler free, by all means, go ahead and click off this video. It is not for you. However, if you are as excited as me, then let's talk about the biggest change coming to Destiny 2 since I would arguably say Beyond Light and the inclusion of a darkness subclass, and that is what Bungie is calling Prismatic. Prismatic is this blend between light and dark, and it's this culmination of everything we've kind of been building towards over the past 10 years. Now, one thing to take note of when it comes to the lore, this is the most accurate our Guardian has been to the lore, I think, ever. In the lore, Guardians have the ability to kind of wield not both sets of subclasses, because Darkness is still a relatively new subclass type and a new quote-unquote element, but Guardians have always been able to wield multiple elements at the same time. There's never been an instance where a Guardian could only wield Solar Light, or a Guardian could only wield Arc Light. Maybe there has been, and I just am not aware of it, so if there has been, please feel free to let me know down below. I'd love to hear about it. But in the lore, it's always kind of been established that Guardians can wield Arc Light, Void Light, Solar Light, all at the same time. And with the inclusion of Darkness, that kind of got added into the mix. You could wield stasis and solar and all this stuff. But we never got to experience it from a gameplay perspective. We never got to experience being able to throw a trip mine grenade and then immediately being able to, let's say hunters do the upward slide with their arc staff. Bungie's introducing that in Final Shape, and that's completely massive, and I'm ecstatic. There are some other things they did announce, and I'm going to touch on them, but I just want to focus on Prismatic because, in my opinion, Prismatic is the coolest thing that could ever happen. We don't know how we get it. All we know is there is a set amount of abilities from the various subclasses that are at your disposal in the Prismatic kit. And as you deal damage based on darkness and light subclasses, you fill these meters. And when these 2 meters are filled together, it's not like you can just fill one and not the other. You have to fill both of them. And when you do, you unlock this thing they're calling Transcendence. And that's when, say, you throw your... what's the grenade the hunters use? It's not the trip mine. It's almost like the void spike grenade. But you throw that, and what it does is it releases a torrent of stasis that freezes enemies, and then it expands and releases this torrent of solar light, which then burns the enemies up. And it's really cool, and you'll get to play between different abilities and different combinations. I'm just really excited. I don't know how else to put this. They did also announce we are getting exotic class items once again. However, unlike in Destiny 1, where they were quote-unquote the life exotics, where you could equip them along with another exotic piece of armor, these are not primarily, I believe these are for just Prismatic. I don't know if they work with normal subclasses, but what they have the capacity to do is they can roll with 2 different exotic traits. I don't know if it's all the exotics available. I don't know if it's hand-picked exotics that Bungie selected traits from and said, okay, these can roll together. But it just opens the door for the loot grind and getting the perfect roll on that, which will then allow your Prismatic kit to be that more fun and that more viable and that more crazy. For the end of a saga, this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see something big and bombastic. We are god killers in the Destiny universe. We have slayed multiple gods. Our Guardian, while they may be this strong, they're actually not as strong as somebody like Ikora, who is canonically one of the strongest, if not the strongest Guardian out there. I don't know if anybody's stronger than her, but it's stated in multiple different lore entries how powerful Ikora is, along with her knowledge and battle strategies and things of that nature. But to blow the doors wide open and for Bungie to sit there and say to us, this is what you're going to do. You're going to be a force of nature, and you need to be to face the witness, is absolutely fantastic. Now, one of the other things they released, which blew my mind as soon as I saw it. I was watching the live stream, and in the initial part of the live stream, we're fighting the Subjugator, which we've seen in all the promo material thus far leading up to this. And all of a sudden, we go off and we're fighting enemies that are flying. We're fighting enemies that are they look like they have wings. And I'm messaging Zephinblade, and I say to him, "Is that a new enemy race?" And sure enough, it is. We are getting an entirely new witness-based faction called the Dread. Now, this isn't like previous things like the Taken or the Splicers or the Scorn, which, while they did have their own kind of mechanics, were kind of reskins of previous enemies. The Dread are entirely new from the ground up. They have new mechanics, they have new designs. It's insane what Bungie's been able to do in the 3 months since announcing the delay of the final shape. And I just absolutely adore this. I love it. Some people, including myself, are relating this to Rise of Iron. It's the end of a journey, right? It's the end of, and I know it's not the end of Destiny 2, but it feels like it. It's the end of the story. It's the end of the saga. And we're getting new enemies, new exotics, new supers, a new location. It feels like the send-off we deserve. Now, one of the things I'm not going to touch about is there's some relatively believable leaks. Not leaks, but believable rumors, I guess they're kind of a leak, of what's to come in the future. Nothing concrete, but that it's something big. It's something that I've personally wanted for a while. And if it turns out to be true, Destiny could be an entirely different game in the next couple years. And I really hope it is. What some people are thinking with this rumor, and I don't want to talk about it too much on the podcast episode, but what some people are believing is this rumor, this leak about the future of Destiny, this could have been what Sony was sold on. Right? Because you have to make a very nice pitch and a very promising future to get a company like Sony to give you billions of dollars. And if it's true, and if the devs at Bungie are finally able to do what they want and give the fans what they want, and you don't have these board members just slobbering all over it, ruining the fun for everyone, Destiny could almost have, in my opinion, a renaissance, a revival. You know, Final Shape could be the renaissance or the revival, and whatever comes after could be the next big thing. We saw this, and with Destiny 2, it had its problems with vanilla, but realistically, Destiny 2 outside of Destiny 1 was kind of a revival. Not a revival, it was this next big thing. And when you're ending a story, when you're ending a saga, when you're closing a tale, and you're starting a new one, you need that. You need a big thing, and that's what I think Destiny 2 Vanilla did very well, is it closed the book on Destiny 1, we ended Rise of Iron. We contained the Siva Plague, it was an age of triumph, the age of darkness was over. What does Destiny 2 do? It starts the age of war. And that's what I'm calling it. I don't know if Bungie's calling it that, or if other people are calling it that, but I'm referring to that. Destiny 2 has been the age of war. The Light and Darkness saga. This is what we've been doing. We've been fighting a war since Dominus Gaul stormed the city, and we haven't stopped. We've been fighting a war with Gaul, fighting a war with the Vex, fighting a war with the Hive, fighting a war with the Fallen, fighting a war with the Scorn. We've been fighting on all these fronts. Fighting a war with the Shadow Legion, and now we're finishing the war with the Witness. So whatever comes after this needs to be pretty substantial to not only carry the momentum forward, but to build the momentum. And I really am hopeful for the future of this game. Now, In other news, we did get the Into the Light update, which brings back a bunch of classic fan favorite weapons. It brings a new horde mode. It brings revised exotic missions. Currently, Whisper of the Worm is the only one we have, but we will be getting 0 Hour. And what I ended up doing was I just kept reaching out to people and getting their opinions about how they felt about Into the Light. And unanimously, it's been positive. I've got a couple different clanmates that said, it's fun. And then I had one clanmate who said it's a good turning point for Destiny. And it seems like the higher-ups learned to kind of back off, and to quote him exactly, he said, it's a good turning point for Destiny. Suits learned to step down, and now the good ideas are finally pouring in. And that's how it seems. Into the Light isn't this half-baked, half-cocked, jumbled together, patch to kind of hold us over for the next 2 months. Into the Light has a substantial horde mode that has a 10-wave ritual playlist style and a 50-wave normal and legendary mode, where the legendary mode is as hard as a grandmaster. Now, I got to step into the normal mode the other night, and let me tell you, when you get to about wave 30-ish, they really start to put the pressure on. It's as if you took all the wave-based modes we've had in the game, Blind Well, Court of Oryx, Archon's Forge, Prison of Elders, and you just Wellspring. You just kind of mashed them together, and it's fun. You can kind of slay out in the regular ritual playlist mode, and in the beginning of the not match made, but in the beginning of the 50 wave based mode, if your team is good and you know which upgrades to get, you can kind of slay out for a little while, have some fun, but it'll pick up, and the rewards are great. Not only do we get this suite of weapons that people have died to have back in their inventory since Beyond Light brought in Sunsetting, we also get these unique, one-of-a-kind, limited time only ornaments, which change the appearance. And once this event ends with the final shape, those ornaments go away. You can still earn the weapons, you can still play the game mode, which I think is great, and I've mentioned it before. Bungie needs more evergreen content like this. But the limited time only golden shader, or the golden ornament, that goes away. And I think it's great. It gets people back in. It reinvigorates people to want to play Destiny, and we're seeing it all over social media. People are coming back. People are having fun. People are getting excited for Destiny again. And this isn't the copium hype of where it's like, oh, it's going to be the best thing ever. No, people have reservations. I have reservations. As great as the new gameplay stuff they're bringing in Final Shape is, if the story is anything like Lightfall, it'll be the biggest letdown of the century. But if it's good, if they pull it off, if they pull off the conclusion that they've been building to for years and for months, it has the potential to be the greatest expansion Destiny has ever seen. Better than the Taken King, better than Forsaken, better than the Witch Queen. It has the potential to eclipse all other content drops. Take Into the Light, for example. This is being compared to the 30th anniversary, which it should. It came during a delay, and with 30th anniversary, we got a new game mode, new suite of weapons, returning favorites, we got a new dungeon. While this doesn't have a new dungeon, we get the exotic missions, we get new weapons, we get new armor, we get new ornaments, we get a couple new shaders, we get new ships with the exotic missions, we get all of this stuff, a new title to chase, and it's all free. You don't have to pay for anything. The 30th anniversary Dares of Eternity was free, but you had to pay for Grasp of Avarice. You had to pay for the Galahorn. Nobody liked that, or at least we liked the content, but we weren't fans of paying for it. Having this be the free update to set up the final shape, and not to mention narratively, this leads into the final shape perfectly. This is what people have wanted. And hopefully, Bungie can take note of that going into the future. And hopefully the execs know to listen to the fans and give the fans what they want. But with all that being said, Thank you so much for watching this week. Thank you so much for listening if you're listening in the audio versions over on Spotify or Apple Podcast. And until next time, fly safe, Guardians.